his new book. It's called The Leaders We Deserved and a Few We Didn't. Alvin Stephen Felzenberg offers up some key points to keep in mind when deciding your vote for this presidential election. And welcome to the set, Al. Thanks for coming in.
Hi, Mika. How are you? Nice to be here.
It's beautiful. And you have some really interesting lists of presidents that stand out. Willie, go through
Yeah,
them
this is a great book because it's a parlor game a lot of people play. Who was the best president ever? And you go through and you rank them. Let's look at the way you did it. We've got your top 6, I think, here. Abe Lincoln, perfect score.
Yeah.
George Washington, Teddy Roosevelt, Ronald Reagan tied with Roosevelt, Dwight Eisenhower, and FDR 6th. Tell us how you come up with the ranking and how you decided Abe Lincoln was perfect.
Well, I looked at several components that the presidents bring to office. 3 they carry with them: character, vision, where they want to take the country, how confident they were achieving their goals. And then I looked at 3 policy areas no president can avoid. They all have to deal with the economy in some way. They all have to deal with national security. And what I think above all, the country's founding mission, preserving and extending liberty. As Mrs. Thatcher told us, we were the only nation on earth founded on an idea. We're going to celebrate that idea on Friday. And presidents varied greatly in how they furthered freedom.
Well, let's look at a little breakdown. Let's talk about one of our more recent presidents and someone who's been in the news just as early as today.
Yes. He ranks them by numbers.
Bill Clinton, ranked 22nd. Let's look at a breakdown. You gave him, out of 5 now, a 2 for character. I think we know why you did that.
Okay.
3 for vision, 3 for competence, 4 for economics, human rights 3, foreign policy 3. So 22nd puts Clinton right in the middle of the pack there.
Well, I hate to get into politics, but I think that Senator Obama, in some ways, had it right when he said that Ronald Reagan was a transformative president in ways that Bill Clinton and Richard Nixon were not. Clinton's favor, I suspect you can say that he was a Democrat who tended to reign in a Republican era. And you saw that with balanced budgets and trade and welfare reform and none of the things Mr. Obama is running on now. But I do give Clinton tremendous grades on the economy. I mean, he was a superb manager of the economy. He meant it when he said he would focus like a laser beam on it, and he did a very good job.
And you gave high marks to Ronald Reagan. We showed you earlier, number 3. If you look down at a breakdown, you get him a 5 on character, a 5 on vision, a 5 on foreign policy. What went into that decision?
Well, Ronald Reagan was one of those few presidents that could actually see ahead. He was our oldest president up to now, but he was very young thinking, very future-oriented. When I was growing up, when all of us were growing up, I don't think any of us, even Mika's father, could see a day when there was not a Soviet Union. He saw that day. He saw a way to get there without firing a shot. And on the economy, it was the same thing. On the competence issue, we can talk a little bit about how he used staff, particularly around Contra and some other things. But, you know, over the 8 years, I mean, this man was a very steady hand. He changed the country in remarkable ways.
Pat Buchanan.
You didn't think he had a great staff, Reagan?
He had some of the greatest writers in history.
No offense, Pat.
But you were not in the business of trouble, were you, Pat?
You know, I'm astounded in people. You'll get trouble with this, I think, because you've put Eisenhower ahead of Franklin Roosevelt.
Yes,
as you know, Schlesinger, the big 3, Washington, Lincoln, FDR. I think it's a tremendous choice. I think he's the most underestimated president we've had. I think he was a great figure in the 1950s. You know, I caddied at Burning Tree Country Club, but he's really come up in everybody's estimation.
Eisenhower seems to be the only president who keeps rising. The fact of serenity is appreciated. The fact of old-fashioned common sense. Let me say something about FDR.
Sure.
I take him at his word. Franklin Roosevelt thought that he was a failure economically after 8 years of office. He said that. And one of the reasons that he wanted a 3rd term was he saw there were storm clouds in Europe. He wanted to be there and take America into the war. And he was a superb commander-in-chief. But on the economy, he himself said, when you fail, you try something else. He failed a great deal.
Why don't you have James K. Polk there? I mean, really, he doubled the size of the United States, for heaven's sakes.
And he did it in such a way, but he did it in such a way, Polk was called by some of the Whig politicians, including young Abe Lincoln, Polk the Mendacious. He did it in such a way that he lied his way into the war. And he settled it in such a way that it made the Civil War almost inevitable. As soon as the war was over, the starting gun of settling these new nations, these new territories, whether...
I mean, but a guy, one-term president, you know, gives you the Southwest, California, Texas, I guess, came in 1845. So he gave all that to you, and he's never ranked there.
Well, I give him credit for competence, and he did a great achievement as president. But again, He started off the
he lied a little bit.
He lied a great deal. In fact, he set the precedent for the Gulf of Tonkin.
Al, before we let you go, I got to ask you about the bottom of the list. Some guy named Buchanan, James, luckily at the bottom of the list, and Nixon, 3 spots up from the bottom.
Yes.
Well, you decided Buchanan was the worst.
Buchanan allowed a civil war to take place on his watch.
We wanted to let him go.
We wanted to let him go.
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson, Andrew Johnson, is one we've lowered over the years. Andrew Johnson set back the cause of civil rights and racial justice by a century. Whether he deserved to be impeached, we can discuss, but he was one of the worst presidents.
Are you pro-Reconstruction?
Yes.
Well, Lincoln would not have done that.
Lincoln had a plan that he left
more
behind.
magnanimous than what they did.
He was magnanimous.
All 5, Pat.
He was magnanimous.
Looks like a Pat Buchanan report card.
Well, actually, my students like it because I give them a report card, just like they get.
Al Felzenberg, the book, The Leaders We Deserved and a Few We Didn't. Thank you so much for coming into the studio. That was fun. Lincoln won that one, Pat. Okay?
Thank you.
5, 5, 5, 5, 5.
Okay.
And
Good to
coming
see
up
you.
next.